Good afternoon. This is Brandy Spencer, CEO and founder of Consider the Possibilities, and you are here for the Dream Plan Execute Telesummit. Today, I have a very special guest. Her name is Tiffany Washington, and she is the business owner and founder of Transformation7. And I am so glad that she has decided to be a part of the Telesummit because she works a lot with career women around goal setting and planning their transition out of corporate America. But also, she gives them some wonderful tools about how to navigate and survive while they're there with joy. So I'm so excited to have her here this evening. Also, I'd like to give a special thanks to our sponsor, and that is the book, Wonderful the Book. And that is by Tanya E. Bulls, an author. She's one of my clients. And this book focuses on helping children learn to love themselves. I love the book. The illustrations are amazing. And there are beautiful pictures of little brown girls and boys. So I encourage you to pick up the book, and I will provide the link in the comment section so that you can check her out. So guys, please support our sponsors. They made this Telesummit possible. And without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get Ms. Washington on the line. Here she comes. Hey, Tiffany, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I am wonderful. I am so excited.
Yes.
And thank you so much for agreeing to be a part of this Telesummit with little old me. We really appreciate you. I know that you have some good stuff to share with us tonight, and so I wanted to make a point to invite you here so that everybody in my tribe and community can get to know you, because you are one of the people to watch this year. Absolutely.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate you for saying that. If
You're
you
welcome.
see me reaching, that's because I'm trying to, my ring light just started sliding down all of a sudden. So the donuts on my eyes, but can you still see me okay? Is the quality of
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome.
I hear you and I see you well.
Okay, perfect. Yes.
So before we dig into the content tonight, I would love for you just to give us a glimpse into your journey into the business world and just a little bit of background about yourself.
Okay, so I recently quit my job back in June of 2016, and I quit my job as an assistant principal. And because I decided to move forward in my business, I knew that I could no longer serve in that capacity. So that's a little bit about my background. That's the really quick and dirty version. And as you described, I now help other people to find their passion and purpose inside of their careers, or to transition on to something that makes them feel alive and more comfortable.
Yes.
So I guess my actual tagline is helping career women to stop hating their jobs and start living a life of passion and purpose. So
absolutely,
that is what I'm focused on doing these days. I do that through coaching, through professional speaking, and through authorship.
Wonderful. And excuse me, make sure that before we go tonight, you share a little bit about that new release that you have coming out. I have seen the cover. It is beautiful, and I can't wait to get my hands on it. So you have to share that before we go tonight.
Absolutely.
So tonight, Tiffany, I have asked you to come and share the nitty-gritty, down and dirty of goal setting, okay? And I know that this topic seems so boring. Like everybody's talking about goal setting, right? But what I've noticed is that there are some people who can really use their goals to move them into action. And then there are some other people who set goals and they're more like words on a piece of paper. So I want to talk about goals that like move people into action and like get it done. Okay. So that's the kind of goal setting we're talking about tonight. This isn't going to be a snooze fest. Okay.
Yes. No snooze fest over here. Don't
None of that here. Okay. So that's what we want to talk about. The down and dirty, like how to make it work, what makes it not work, all of that goodness. Okay. So can we start with this first question? Why is goal setting important?
Okay, so this is probably one of the least explored questions. Goal setting is important because it helps us to hold ourselves accountable, for one thing, and it helps us to truly live our best life. If we don't set goals, we are walking through a mundane life, an ordinary life, and goals help you to live an extraordinary life. So it means a lot when we say that we're going to set goals, but it means even more when we say, I'm going to achieve the goals that I have set. And so what we need to delve into is, how do we start achieving the goals that we expect to achieve? Because a lot of us go around expecting certain things and we don't put any action behind it. So it's a goal, but a goal without an action plan is just a wish. That's all it is. So if you want to sit around wishing, then don't set goals. But if you really want to take flight inside of your own life, then you have to have goals for yourself.
Absolutely. And I think you touched on what I was saying before. Achieving your goals, when you achieve something, there's some action that's tied to that. Like just having some goals is just having some goals, right? But being purposeful and intentional about how you're going to achieve the goal, I think like makes the total difference, right? Great. It's already getting good. So what type of results or things have you achieved through goal setting?
Okay, so I'll start with a little bit of my career and then fast forward into what I'm doing now. So inside of my career, I was inside of education for 9 years and inside of a school setting for 8. And over the course of 8 years, each year I incrementally grew inside of my role. So my first year, just a teacher. Second year, I was co-chair of my department. By the third year, I was the chair of my department. By the fourth year, I had transitioned into instructional specialist. So I had moved out of the classroom by my fourth year. And I'd already experienced being an ELA department chair and being a 7th grade team lead. So I was progressive because I had a goal each year. And it's almost unheard of for a first-year teacher to gain a leadership responsibility before they even finish the course of their first year. So fast forward that to assistant principalship, and I stayed inside of the assistant principalship role for about 3 years with different opportunities to go and speak and mentor new teachers and do all of that good stuff. So fast forward to me deciding to transition out of my job, I transitioned into full-time business. And when I decided to do that, things started happening quickly for me because of the plans that I set in place for myself as far as goals were concerned. So everything from, I want to be a speaker and I want to be a full-time speaker. Okay, let me go find out what speaking engagements are available, what networks I already have so that I can start building my business. Because unlike a lot of people, I didn't do a whole lot of honing of my business while I was in my 9 to 5. I just fired out of the gate once I quit my job. So that transitioned into me doing the speaking engagements for places like Rolls-Royce, the luxury car company, Humana Healthcare, one of the largest healthcare companies in this nation, and then eventually being on the TED stage, TEDx Talk at Rice University. And this is all because of goal setting and my strategic plan for myself helped me to attain these, what people would say would be large names. So that's some of the things that I've done. And that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Just the beginning. And I touched on 2 things that I want to kind of dig into a little deeper. I love that you said when you started your business, you tapped into the connections that you already had.
Absolutely. That's how things start. Yeah.
It does. And you hear the old adage, it ain't what you know, is who you know. You know, it may be fair, may be unfair, but are you going to change the world? How about you just go along with the old adage and tap into who you know first? And then the people who you know, they know people. And if they introduce you to their people, that's still warm. That's still better than introducing yourself to somebody who's never heard of you before. So that was very powerful.
Yeah.
Very good.
And the work is all about relationships, Brandy. If you don't have relationships, then you can't do good work. So you have to make sure that whoever you are networking with, that it's a real relationship that you're moving into.
Absolutely. And another thought just passed my head. Some people may be like, well, I want to build my business on my own. I don't want the hookup, or I don't want, well, I think a way to prepare yourself is to know your stuff. And so when they do introduce you or hook you up with something, it is no doubt in their mind whether you're going to do a good job or not. Ready? Right? It's just an opportunity. You know what I'm saying? I think the problem comes when people start hooking up incapable, incompetent people. And if that's not you, then you shouldn't worry about that. You should get all the hookups that you can and leverage those connections, right? If you know what you're doing, don't worry about that. Like, that'll work itself out. Right. That was number one that I love that you just said. And then number two was the research. You've said research 2 or 3 times. And I think for some of us, that's one of the main pieces that we're missing. We're like, oh, I have this idea. No, you have an idea. Do people want it?
Yeah.
Is it gonna work?
Yeah.
Like, you want to be a speaker. Well, where could you speak at? Did you read? Like,
yeah. You have
to do the legwork, right?
And some people think that they can just jump into things because they've seen other people do it before, and they try to mimic what they see. And while it's good to try to emulate other people that you admire, they had a process that happened behind the scenes. And so what you have to understand is that in order to achieve any goal that you have on the table, there is a level of research that has to be done on how you're going to master what it is that you're trying to achieve. Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So when is the best time to start setting goals?
The best time to start setting goals is right now. So if you've never set goals before, then now's the time to do it. You know, we hear goal setting a lot around the end of the year and the beginning of the year. And I'm one of the people, as far as my business is concerned, I definitely talk about it around those times. But if you fall off track, which most people do, because research shows that over 26% of
the connection's doing something. Are you still there? Oh, it looks like we have.
Okay.
I can still hear you.
Okay, great. All right. I'm sorry about that. So
I can't see you anymore, though.
Oh no. And now I can't see you either.
I believe it's your connection. It looks like it's bad on your end.
Oh no. Hold on. Let me see what
everybody in who's watching, get used to technology doing this, right? It does it, right? But we can definitely hear you. Okay. So while you're doing that, I'll say a couple of things. So as we're waiting for her to get her audio situated, I want everybody to kind of pause and think. Have you honestly created goals for yourself? And that's goals for your life, goals for your business, goals for your relationship. And if you have, are you actually looking at these goals consistently, constantly, right? I had a big habit or problem before in the past that I would write these goals and I'd write it in this cute little spiral, and then I'd set the spiral down and I wouldn't look back at the goals for another 5 or 6 months, right? And by that time, I would have discovered that I was so far off track that there was no way possible that I could get back on track. So now I know the power of monitoring those goals on a consistent basis constantly. It allows you to shift and maneuver and get yourself back on track and adjust your plan if needed, right? So that is what I had to say about that. Let me check back and see if Tiffany has worked out that audio.
Okay, are we back? Okay, so ask me the question again. I've kind of moved my seat a little bit, trying to get to the best place. I have some dead spots here in my house.
Okay, no worries. So I asked, when was the best time to set your goals?
Okay, so I was saying that the best time is now, and sometimes we hear about it at the beginning of the year and at the end of the year. But if you have not already set goals, it's never too late, okay?
Exactly.
There's a specific way in which you set goals so that you can be successful, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that you must do is make sure that those goals are SMART, okay? And we hear SMART goals all of the time, but that is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. Okay.
Yes.
So all of those elements have to be in place in order for you to have goals that are going to work for you. So that means that you're not aiming too high and you're not aiming too low. There's a sweet spot right there in the center. And that sweet spot is that uncomfortable spot where you're moving just beyond your level of comfort and you're doing something out of the ordinary for you, but that nothing that is well beyond what your reach is. So
absolutely, a stretch goal, something to stretch you.
Yes, a stretch goal.
Very good, very good. And just to kind of talk about that, you know, your goal is your goal.
Yeah.
Don't let other people influence your final spot or define what success is for you, right? If you launch a business this year and this is your first year in business, and if you feel like if you make $20,000 that you have, you know, that will allow you to do X, Y, and Z, and that's going to free up time so that you can enjoy life and your boo. That is your success. And you set your goal the way you need to set your goal. I think sometimes we get so clouded by what everybody else is doing in the industry, all these six-figure benchmarks, make 6 figures in 4 days, in 2 weeks, make a 5-figure launch. Like if your launch was 4 figures and that was your first launch and you just learned how to create income, like you need to pat yourself on the back and be happy about that, right? So when you're determining your goals and the end goal, right? That's something personal to you, and it shouldn't be clouded by everybody else's opinion. So I want everybody to kind of hold firm to that, right? Back up off me. This is my business.
I agree, Randy, because a lot of the times we get so sidetracked by looking to the right or to the left. And it reminds me of a racehorse, and racehorses have blinders on them on either side so that they can't, you know, the only thing is that goal at the end of the racetrack. They just want to cross the finish line. And sometimes that's the way we need to be inside of our businesses and inside of our personal lives and inside of our work lives, because when we get busy looking to the right and to the left, that's when we stumble. That's when we fall short. And that's when we start blaming ourselves for something that didn't happen. It was because we were too busy worried about Sally, Sue, and Jane when we should have just been worried about the person that's staring back at you in the mirror.
Absolutely. So, where do you think we mess up in our goals?
I think one of the places we mess up in our goals is when we don't write it down. Because a lot of the times our goals are in our heads and we say, oh yeah, by the end of the year, I want to lose 10 pounds, or, you know, by the end of the year, I want to be in a new job. I want to have a new car, a new boo, or whatever it is. Right. However, we start to forget those goals, or we don't get towards those goals in a good amount of time. So, because sometimes we take 10 months to do a goal that could have only taken us 2, you know, so because not all goals take a year long. Some things can happen in short periods of time. So one of the things I like to tell my clients, I'm sorry, I leaned over here, is to write it down. I have a journal and I write everything down in this journal. And inside of my journal, I also have all of my goals for the year. And after I do my goals, I check them off. So you all can probably see check marks starting at the top of that page. And so I'm almost there, and I have goals for each month. And so, and then some goals are going to take me longer than 1 month. So you can see I have February there, and then it skips down to May because there are a lot of heavy goals during the first part of the month. And I knew take me a little longer to reach or achieve those. So if you don't write it down, it does not exist. And that's where we go wrong as business owners, as people inside of 9-to-5s. When you don't write it down, it may well have just been tossed into the air. So I would say that is the number one reason number one thing that goes wrong when setting goals.
And writing it down is powerful because I know for me, my brain, I feel like it is always turning. And sometimes I have to get a piece of paper and just write it down to get it out of my head. Like free yourself, free up a little brain space for something else, right?
Absolutely.
So awesome. Write it down and make it plain.
Yes. Write the vision.
So what is the main ingredient, like the most important thing, when you're writing a goal and you put your you like, I did that. What is that one thing that needs to be inside or a part of a great goal?
The one thing I would say that needs to be in part of a great goal is specificity. I'm going to do this. That time-bound piece is what really makes the difference, in my opinion, about whether or not we achieve something. Because it's one thing for it to be specific and relevant and realistic, but that time-bound piece is what really catches a lot of us. Because if life happens, we'll push it to the side. If anything comes up, maybe there's a family gathering of friends, and we'll push that goal to the side because we're putting other things before ourselves. So the one thing you need to have is a time, and you need to stick to that time. Even if you don't quite meet it, you are either going to beat it or you're going to be right behind it. Because just because you set a goal, that doesn't necessarily always mean that you're going to hit it exactly at that point in time. But if you don't have any reference point and say, okay, by the end of May, by May 31st, I need to be doing X, Y, and Z, or done with X, Y, and Z, then you'll just drag it out. And maybe by the end of the year, and maybe it won't.
And one of our biz besties, Brandy Wood, I did a book study on this book called The 12-Week Year. And so what it said was, for a lot of people, you're stretching out goals that can really take 12 weeks and you're making it like 12 months. So we can condense our goals and have like shorter cycles of time, right? So one thing that it said is like, if you give yourself 3 months to achieve a goal, no matter how easy or simple it is, time expands itself. Or I can't remember the exact words, but it's like, if it takes 2 hours to do something, but you give yourself 8, it's going to take you 7.5, right? So if you give yourself shorter, tighter goals, then you will be more efficient in achieving them. And then you can move on to the next one, right? Being more strategic in the way that you attack them. And if you focus on, instead of 20, focus on 3 good ones for that 12-month period, that you can knock them out.
Right. And people need to understand that there's a difference between goals and a to-do list. There's a strong difference between things that you want to accomplish over a certain amount of time and things you need to do on a day-to-day basis. So you have to make sure that you know the difference. And that brings me to the SMART goals that I mentioned earlier. So let me give a quick example of what that is, an example of a SMART goal. So I want to lose 10 pounds. That's not a SMART goal. I'm sorry. That's not a SMART goal.
I think that's real smart. So
smart. I want to lose 10 pounds. Yeah, girl.
That was smart for me to lose 10 pounds.
But anybody can say, I want to lose 10 pounds. People say that every day. Girl, I can't fit in my jeans anymore. I need to lose 10 pounds.
Right.
The way to get it done is to say, I want to lose 10 pounds by this date. I want to lose 10 pounds by January 25th. And I'm going to do that by doing these things. I'm going to do a fast for 3 days. I'm going to juice. I'm going to cleanse, or whatever it is. So you have to have action steps behind that. So your SMART goal, it has that time-bound piece in there, but then to extend it even further, you need to say, how am I going to achieve this goal? All right. I'll know I lost 10 pounds by, because I'm going to lose it in increments of 2 pounds every week. Or I'll know I lost 10 pounds because 10 pounds ago, I was able to fit in my size 8 jeans. So
right. So there's like an evaluation piece there almost.
Exactly.
Absolutely. That's good stuff. Okay. So you talked about your journal. You write all your goals in there. And when you popped off, I was talking about when I used to write goals, I would write all my goals down. Then I'd set the journal down, and then I wouldn't open it for 6 months. And then when I opened it up, I was like way off track. And I was like, oh, hell. So how, excuse me, guys, how do you monitor goals? What is your technique for that?
Okay, so I have several ways. One is whatever goal I'm really focusing on, I actually write it on my mirror in Expo marker. So that every morning when I get up and I brush my teeth, wash my face, all of that morning regimen stuff, it's right there in front of me. So my intention is already set for the day because I know I have some things to do towards that goal. And secondly, the writing it down piece, when I write my goals down, I look at them every day. And you have to keep yourself accountable for that piece. You can't just let dust sit on it. And one of the ways I know I can look at it every day is because this is multiple pages. Of course, my goals aren't this many pages long. I write my ideas down in this journal. I write my thoughts down about how to improve my business. And so everything is right here in this one book. So all of my important stuff is into my journal. So that's probably the best way I say.
It's like this one. This is everything. I didn't bedazzled it and everything. We got everything in this book. Yeah. Absolutely.
And then the other thing that I do is I always evaluate where I am at the end of each month and at the end of each quarter. So even though I'm looking at my goals every day, at the end of each month, I'm saying, okay, what goals do I have coming up for the next month that I need to be preparing for myself or the next quarter, and depending on how my goals are set up. So it's always an evaluation piece that has to take place.
And I think that's what a lot of people miss also. There should really almost be an evaluation piece really every day. But like weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly, if you're not evaluating what works and what doesn't work, and if you're not like, what did I do and what didn't I do?
Right.
What else is there, right? I mean, you better be finding out what you did and didn't do. But a lot of people, you're writing your goals down. I'm going to do these things. And then that's it. Okay, did you do it? Well, if you didn't, all is not lost. How can we adjust this thing so that we can get back on track, right? So that evaluation piece is like pivotal.
Yeah, and people should understand that you don't want to get lost in just the writing piece. The actionable piece is where you really want to spend a lot of your time. After you take a look at your goal, then I actually have inside of a program that I teach around that goal, that famous goal setting time. There is a specific workbook that I've created for people to write their weekly goals down and keep track of how their weekly goals add up to that one big goal. So I encourage people to not start with more than anywhere from 5 to 7 goals. If you're new at goal setting, 5 to 7 larger goals that you can execute over the course of the year. And as I mentioned earlier, some of them will happen within a couple of months and some of them will take you the full year to achieve. And some of them are goals that are consistent, meaning that you're always working towards it. Because if you're trying to build generational wealth, for example, wealth is not going to happen in just 1 month, but you're doing something every day, every week, every month, every quarter, every year to get you to that wealth that you're trying to achieve. So that's absolutely, and that you have to stay on target with.
I know in the marketing world, we're tracking goal numbers like leads, number of emails, like new email subscribers. I have goals for that. I have list goals for like how many followers do I want? How much engagement do I want? how many clicks per, depending on ads and things like that. How many clicks do I want to this website? So the more intimate that you are, the more of an intimate knowledge that you have about your numbers and what it's going to take to achieve your goals, you can start to attach numbers to them. And it helps direct your daily actions. When you have clear-cut goals and you're off somewhere drinking margaritas at 3 o'clock in the afternoon with your friends, you know darn well that's not part of your goal. So what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, if that's not part of the plan, that ain't the plan.
And then I'm glad you said that, because sacrifice is a part of what has to happen in order for you to reach some of those bigger goals that you have in your life. You can't remain complacent and continue to do the same things and expect a different result. So sometimes you'll have to forego the margarita in order to make your money or whatever it is that you decided to do for yourself.
Absolutely. Drink that margarita later. This was awesome. I think we really touched base on the difference between a goal or a plan that does work and doesn't work. I like that you said 5 to 7 big goals for the year. Then you can kind of place them on a calendar. Like if I want, I know I want to have one big live event in September, put that on your calendar and then work backwards. Okay, so that means these coming up months, I need to be working on this. So your goals really set the stage for everything else in your daily actions, your weekly actions, the things you should be monitoring, the things that you need to be tweaking. All of that is attached to this goal. And if you don't have one, you're really kind of willy-nilly in business, right? And I don't think willy-nilly is not going to achieve the millions that a lot of us, I know that we want, right? I know I need some millions. I need some millies. If you need a milli, if you need some millies, put it in the comment section.
Yes, indeed.
So, Tiffany, where can people find you? Where can they connect with you?
Okay, so if you are looking to work with me or just to get inspiration on a weekly basis, you can sign up for my email list at transformation7.com, and that's transformation and the number 7.com, which is the name of my business. And you can also find different ways to work with me. There's a work with me tab, and I do private coaching and I do group coaching. I do coaching for sister friends, whatever the setting is. And then also, if you want me to come out and speak, that information is also under the work with me tab as well. Yeah.
Awesome.
So
okay.
Go ahead.
Now, I mentioned before that you have a new book coming out. Yeah. And I want everybody who's listening to over and grab it, because it's a must grab. So tell us a little bit about the whole premise for the book, the title, and where they can get it.
Okay, so the premise of the book is helping and ministering to people who are having difficulty in the workplace, specifically women. So I talk a little bit in the book about my experience with workplace bullying, and bless you. I also talk about how to get over those different things that happen to us so frequently in the workplace, like what to do when you feel ostracized in the workplace, what to do when you feel undervalued, what to do when you feel worried, what to do when you can't get up out of the bed and you wake up 30 minutes early just to pray yourself out of the bed so that you can go to that job day after day after day. So I help to get over those things through this 21-day devotional. So it gives you spiritual solutions to common workplace problems that we experience.
Yes. And we need that.
Yeah, I think we all do. And why I wrote the book is because I wanted to write something that I didn't have for myself, which was a guide of how to get through different trials. Because outside of the Bible, there weren't many other pieces for me. So I'm like, okay, I need something that's specific for my problem. So I wrote this after I made it to the other side of that trial and said, what can I write for other women that is going to serve them? And I
think that's really powerful. You found a need. You didn't have it. So then once you made it over, you're now bringing other people over too, right? Right.
Absolutely.
That's beautiful. That is. And I like that you said that it helps you kind of get over things, because, I'm an entrepreneur. I haven't had a traditional job in a couple of years now, but I still think that I don't want to call them wounds necessarily, but there's still some things that happened on my job that, kind of changed me as a person. So I think that that's a powerful statement too, that some of that stuff can linger with you. And you got to kind of shake it off and dust yourself off and know that these people's opinions of you is not the opinion that really matters, is it? I mean,
absolutely. And people also have to know that the situation that you're in right now, for those of you who are currently experiencing workplace difficulty, this situation wasn't made just for you. There's nothing new under the sun, and there are other people who are going through similar situations, but you have to be willing to talk about it and reach out to somebody so that you have the support system that you need, because once you start talking to people, you find that there are a lot of similarities, especially in the workplace, because there's people who hate the jobs, hate their bosses, hate their co-workers, hate sitting behind their desk. It just
sick of them.
Yes, just sick, and there are different ways to find more joy on the job. And through my workshops and things, I also talk about that as well, how to find more joy on the job where you are, because everybody can't afford to quit. Everybody can't be a full-time entrepreneur. Of course, work towards those goals if that's what your plan is. But for some people, they're working inside of their purpose at work, and that is great. But sometimes our purpose gets diverted because of people and because of things that happen on the job. And so this book, Women Winning at Work, and then I don't know if it's turned the opposite direction, but it's called Women Winning at Work.
No, it looks exactly right. Can you hold it up one more time?
Sure. So Women Win at Work, and it's a 21-day guide to experiencing spiritual success in the face of workplace difficulty. So this book is found on Amazon. So you can just search the title, or you can search my name, Tiffany A. Washington, and you'll be able to find the book and purchase it on Amazon. And shortly, it'll be available on Kindle and at Barnes & Noble online.
Wonderful. We have another author joining us tonight. So I am so proud of you. I think your book looks amazing. I can't wait to read it. I'm going to get my copy this weekend. Yes. Do you have any parting words for us? It can do with goal setting. It could be advice to other sister friends. It could be whatever you want. Any parting words for us tonight?
My parting words would be that we were all made for a purpose, and we are all uniquely made. So the important thing for you to take away from this talk tonight, if you don't take away anything else, is that you have a special imprint that needs to be left with this world, and only you can make that imprint. So what are you going to do with this one special life that you've been given in order to move your portion of this world forward? Okay, how are you going to leave your imprint? I want you to think about that and then go after it. And it happens through goal setting and through you being intentional about what it is that you're going to do to leave your mark on this earth.
Wonderful. Well said. And with that, once again, I would like to thank Tiffany Washington for coming and being a guest tonight. I would also once again like to thank our sponsor, Wonderful the Book, and the author's name is Tanya E. Bulls. Check out that book. Beautiful illustrations, beautiful little brown girls and boys in the book, and you need to check it out. Make sure that your child understands that they need to love themselves. So, my name is Brandy Spencer, CEO and founder of Consider the Possibilities. This is the Dream, Plan, Execute Telesummit. Thank you so much, and good night. Good night.